Hey guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So we have some new sexualities that have dropped, some new relationship styles, so I hope you're excited to learn. I came across this post on X, and just based off of the infographic alone, looks like we're going to be diving into the Oppression Olympics today. Solo polyamory is a type of polyamorous configuration. Solo poly people tend to see themselves, as their own primary. They usually have multiple separate or intertwined polyamorous dynamics. They are committed to their polyamorous relationships. They don't depend on the relationship escalator to express their commitment. Her being a hijabi wasn't woke enough, so they took her fucking leg. When I'm in a woke competition and my opponent is a black polyamorous hijabi amputee, how many slurs can she say? What is solo piracy? The pirates, they took my leg. Right, so a lot of people are in agreement that this is crazy. Trying to get as many oppression points in as possible. Solo poly, amputee, hijabi. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't have like a LGBTQ tattoo, BLM, ACAB. They should have added a furry tail and ears. Eat the rich. I'm just throwing some ideas out there. And I was thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe this is rage bait. This was made by someone who has a lot of woke infographics that we're going to take a look at. But before we do, we have to talk about solo polyamory, right? I haven't heard of this before. We have talked about polyamorous relationships and how they're becoming popular among Gen Z especially. But now we also have solo poly. So it's a form of polyamory where someone has multiple relationships, but they don't merge their lives with any one of those people. It's not common for them to live together or get married. It's just keeping it, as separate as possible. People can do whatever they want if it's, between two consenting adults, or three or four, I guess. But I want to share my thoughts on why I think this reflects a troubling cultural shift towards extreme individualism. There is a lot of focus on self-care. While self-care is important and self-love is great and being confident is great, things can be taken too far. You don't want to prioritize your partner or your partners. You're always the priority. That's what this is about. It really is a rebranding of commitment phobic people. Now imagine if one of them has a kid and you'd have to explain to the child, well, daddy is with mommy number 2. And mommy number 2 is with her boyfriend. Although, scratch that, actually. I doubt these are the kinds of people that would keep the baby in the first place. I'm not sure this would lead to a fulfilling life. I feel like if everyone followed this model, we would be left with a bunch of self-absorbed, emotionally stunted people who would be eating, sleeping alone, but then texting 5 other people, I love you. So I think that solo poly reinforces a culture of narcissism where self-focus is seen as a virtue instead of a warning sign. I think that's a red flag. Like I said, there are a lot more illustrations like that one. As a married polyamorous couple who practices egalitarianism, what have you done to minimize the inherited privilege being married has afforded you? Huh? Okay, start playing the privilege game. Would you do a relationship contract? Why solo polyamory? A lot of the issues with solo polyamory that critics have voiced are rooted in simply not understanding why someone would opt to navigate relationships alone or without certain milestones to validate commitment. There's also the belief that solo polyamorists are promiscuous and don't want commitment. I wonder why. Why would anyone think that? This is simply miseducation on what solo polyamory is. Ignorance. Shaming. No, we should put slut on a pedestal. You want a medal for sleeping around? What's so stupid? And projection of past traumatic dating experiences with solo polyamorous. Guys, what is going on with the disabilities? Why is everyone disabled? Where is her leg? And the other one was in a wheelchair. What is You guys have to be more careful in the bedroom or whatever's going on. Okay, again, this guy is missing a leg. Unless you're trying to say that only disabled people are solo polyamorous. But this man, woman, they, them, is going to teach us about promiscuity claims, okay? Solo polyamorous do not have more or less sex than any other polyamorous person in the community. Shaming solo polyamorous because they are in relationships where the commitment doesn't mirror the relationship escalator is something that needs to be unpacked. And it's likely that this belief is rooted in toxic monogamy, which polyamorous have not unlearned. Toxic monogamy. You're going to be alone again. Oh no, this guy's blind. He has a service dog. What does the shirt say? My kid rock? My dad rock. Is she blind too? Because she could have helped him fix the grammar mistake. Some prefer to live alone with their children if they have any. Some do not want to grow old with their partners, partners in the same home. No, I get it, but were all of you in like a freak accident or something? Why is everyone disabled? Okay, crutches again. But this really, I think this is a great representation of the solo polyamorous. This me. Being solo polyamorous isn't selfish. Oh, it isn't. Okay. Being the star of your intimate life is self-love and self-care. Well, there's two stars usually, right? Like, if both of you are in a relationship or the other person, they're not. Okay. What is going on? This is kind of sad. Guys, I'm so sorry. But what happened? Was it like a solo poly meetup and then something happened? Because, like, again, if you want to be diverse, not everyone is disabled. This is over-representing them. Like, you just want applause for the diversity, but it's not true diversity if everyone looks the same. So another sexuality has entered the chat. We're gonna learn about this. I literally thought this said magasexual. Magasexual, oh my goodness, is someone who tends to be unable to have an emotional connection to someone unless there's a strong sexual connection with that person first. Let's try the physical stuff first, and then if that works, I'll ask about your favorite color. I'll learn your last name, maybe. They are arguably the complete opposite of demisexuals. However, just like demis, megasexuals have their nuances. Okay, yeah. That is so revolutionary, not self-centered and backwards at all. Everything here, it's not a new sexuality. It's nothing other than rebranding hookup culture. Let's keep looking. Okay, she has one arm, right? But are you vetting? Well, apparently not if you're megasexual. How do you nurture your queerness? The age-old question. How do you curate your inner queen/king/royalty? Get over yourself. For me lately, it has been very affirming to my non-binary self to indulge heavily in transgender content, as in follow almost all of the funny transgender content creators, whereas before I didn't do so because I was worried about my followers seeing I followed creators who weren't polyamorous. Funny transgender black creators, funny transgender Muslim black creators, funny transgender Muslim black disabled creators. Like, do you see what I'm getting at? That's a bit crazy to worry about such a thing because you follow transgender creators that aren't oppressed enough because you don't have the exact same life. That's not an echo chamber at all. No, that's great. Now I don't care at all, lol. Sometimes it's really comforting seeing people who are like me make funny videos or share their transition online. Also, I've been contemplating, so you're transitioning into non-binary. Also, I've been contemplating how I'd like to dress now that I'm a parent and what that looks like for a non-binary person. Sounds simple, but it really is something I'm looking forward to. The narcissism doesn't stop when you have a kid, apparently, because we're not focusing on the kid. We're focusing on how you should dress as a non-binary parent. I know how. You have to get a shirt and you have to write everything that defines you, every single label, every little micro label you can possibly think of. Solo, poly, non-binary, transgender, black, queer, everything on a shirt. That is the only way. What's really wild is this obsession with curating this identity so meticulously that even who you follow, that's becoming some kind of statement, right? Like political statement, socially. Wow, like just follow who you want to follow. This is so backwards. Imagine you find someone you think they're funny or interesting. You want to follow them, but you have to first see if they're in a polyamorous relationship, or you have to check their race. Do you have any vacation trips planned with your polycule? I think your vacation trip should involve a room that is covered in bubble wrap because you guys seem very accident prone. Someone's sexuality isn't void because of how their relationships form. She has like a thing that says still bi. How would we live without knowing you're bi? Still a narcissist. No one cares. These drawings are so funny. How I sleep knowing my partner is on a date. Alone. You're sleeping alone. It's sad. It really is sad. It's denial dressed as emotional maturity. Oh, I don't care. I don't care that my husband is now with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's girlfriend, and then he's off sleeping with 10 other people. That's okay. Because I'm so mature. I am too jealous for polyamory. A series responding to microaggressive comments from monogamous people? You're not oppressed enough? You're claiming these are microaggressions. I am too jealous for polyamory. Apparently, acknowledging what really is a natural human emotion in this situation, jealousy, is now offensive to the polyamorous community. How fragile does your relationship have to be for you to feel attacked, for you to be offended by someone stating their preference, right? That's not for me. That's not for me. That might be for you. You know, we might have our own opinion on that, but that is not for me. I don't want my partner sleeping around with other people, but that is an attack. That is microaggressive. No amount of disabled, hijabi, black, queer infographics will change the fact that for most people, love works best when it's exclusive. It's one thing to have that kind of lifestyle, fine. But it's another thing to try and paint yourself out to be better than monogamous people, or to claim something as simple as stating a preference is a microaggression. Monogamous people are not attacking you. They're just stating their standards, which you don't seem to have. Instead of calling that microaggressive, you should take a moment and reflect on why that feels like a threat to you. I have a theory. I think this whole trend of creating these countless sexualities, for the most part, it's not really about living authentically and being so progressive. I think it's a coping mechanism for people who are lonely and struggling to find a date. So you go from having one option to bisexual, okay? Hello? Anyone out there? And then we can go even further, pansexual. Let's try demisexual. Let's try all sexual, whatever I can get. Because if you can't lock down one person in a monogamous relationship, why not try to broaden the dating pool? Throw out a new label or a bunch of new labels and hope that someone sticks around. I'm sure that there are people who will prefer this kind of setup. Okay, it's your life. Do as you wish, right? I just see this as, again, a reflection of our society constantly prioritizing self-love, and the self-love isn't actual, confidence or taking care of yourself. It's something like that. It's narcissism. It's, I'm never going to make any sacrifices. I'm never going to put my partner first. I should be able to sleep around with whoever I want. And that's empowerment. And like I said, I think that for some, it's just not working out, and so they try a bunch of different labels. It starts to sound less like empowerment and more like a cry for help, because I honestly don't think that anyone in a happy relationship or someone who is perfectly content being single would do that, right? Would change up sexualities left and right and create all these different, situationships and rebrand that and put new labels on it, instead of reflecting on yourself and your standards. There's an attempt, I think, to solve rejection or loneliness by increasing options. I like trans people now. I like trans queer people now. I like trans queer hijabi. Hello, anyone? I think that's what it is. Again, not all. I'm sure some of you really are those sexualities, and that's great, to all the mega sexuals out there. But like I said, at the end of the day, the endless stream of new labels and sexualities feels like a desperate grasp for connection in an increasingly narcissistic and disconnected world. Anyways, that's it. Make sure you let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree in the comments below. Also remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.